Hi, welcome to this week's Fireside Chat. I'm glad you found us on our YouTube channel for this recording this week. As usual, Judy Zarubik is on the other end of this recording, making everything flow smoothly and well. She therefore has all the headaches while I just write the script and expect it all to get done properly. So thank you, Judy. You are a real trooper. For those of us who travel during this pandemic, planning has become important. After all, there are not as many places to make use of the washroom facilities as there once were. For a select few, however, there are other restrictions on when to stop. Sometimes tensions can get heated as we continue to adjust to pandemic grocery shopping. When tempers flare, this might be the result. And remember when we used to worship together and sit close to one another? At least this is something we no longer have to experience. With all our extra time at home, puns flourish as we try to beat back the boredom we might be feeling from time to time when playing with imagery. Here's another take. Or still another drawing. And then we start to get carried away until finally we reach too far. I know that archaeologists have a great sense of humor. For example, while our building is still closed to keep the most vulnerable among us safe, we still have made adjustments, although not maybe as significant as this adjustment. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day. Marking the day will be very different because of the pandemic. In-person events will be sparse, distanced, and brief. Nevertheless, we will remember them. We will mourn those who gave their lives in war. We will cherish those who came back scarred in body or in spirit or in mind. However, what is our purpose for Remembrance Day, 101 years after its inauguration, originally called Armistice Day? Why do we remember? Perhaps this video portrays some idea as to why.
I wanna see the world united and learn to live as one. I wanna see the world united, learn to live as one. I wanna see the world united, learn to live as one. I wanna see the world united, learn to live as one. Zala ke yando stengeli na bato bakufela bitumba. Zongisa ke yando na mituna ya bato bakufela nanzala. Zala ke yando koki na bato bakufela bitumba. Zongisa ke yando sengeli na bato bakufela nanzala. We have to bring the world together and learn to live as one. We have to bring the world together, learn to live as one. El instante lo que cuenta. Vive sonriendo hasta el final.
של כולנו, נשאיר אותו בכל אחד. We have to bring the world together. We have to live as one. We have to bring the world together. We shall overcome. سيد السلام أعد لنا السلام. We have to bring the world together. We have to live as one. We have to bring the world together. We shall overcome. سيد السلام. We have to bring the world together. We have to live as one. We have to bring the world together. We shall overcome.
We have to live as one.
On Remembrance Day, we remember because, as the video declares, we want to see the world united and learn to live as one. We want to bring the world together. We have to bring the world together. In remembering who lost their loved ones through war, who lost their loved ones through hunger, it is taking the moment that counts. Then we look to heaven and plead, Lord of peace, give us, bring us, gift us with peace. However, pleading, hoping, dreaming, none of that is enough. We have to act upon our longing and because of our remembering. I had a long series of conversations about all of this with my best friend through high school, through flunking out of first-year university together, and through the first decades of married life. His name is Hans Borsch, and he is currently the pastor at St. James Lutheran Church in Elmira. He served in the Canadian Army in the Engineering Corps for 23 and a half years. We often debated how to reconcile the use of deadly force with our Christian faith, which calls us to love our enemies as ourselves. We had relatively different points of view, but we found solid common ground. That solid common ground is well expressed by evangelical Christian pastor, video maker, and independent theologian Rob Bell. The Bible isn't a book about how to get into heaven. It's a library of poems and letters and stories about bringing heaven to earth now, about this world becoming more and more the place it should be. There is very, very little in the Bible about what happens when you die. That's not what the writers were focused on. Their interest again and again is on how this world is arranged. Does everyone have enough? Are their power structures tilted in favor of the vulnerable? Has violence been renounced, or is it being kept in circulation? Notice once again what Rob Bell says, and what Hans and I mutually agreed was the thrust of the good news of the Bible. A life of faith is about bringing heaven to earth now. God's will being done on earth as it is in heaven is not waiting to be rescued by God, swooping into our lives and saving us from ourselves, but by taking on the difficult task of sacrificial, self-giving love, painfully lived in a world that too often looks for easy solutions. The resurrection Jesus gives to us as a gift. The transformation into which we are called as followers of the way of Jesus is resetting that perspective. Consider this quote from Oscar Wilde. To recommend thrift to the poor is both grotesque and insulting. It is like advising a person who is starving to eat less. Now, notice in the picture the disparity between those lined up and the man in the middle. Most ignore him except for one man, yet that man's expression appears to be one of negative judgment, of looking down at this seeming out of place person, maybe even of concern that the man is getting too close for comfort. How we live in the world makes a significant difference to those around us. Consider this picture. It was an experiment in a senior public school. Students were given permission to bully the plant on the left, but to shower the plant on the right with compliments, with positive statements, and with warm vocal tones. It may seem like a strange thing to try. What is the purpose? Notice the visible result of that experiment only 2 weeks after it started. The plant on the left, the one that was bullied, is drooping, paler in color, and smaller. The plant on the right, complimented and nurtured with positive behavior and thoughts, is perky, rich in color, and robust in growth. You see, sometimes people don't care to meet our Jesus until they meet the beautiful reality of Jesus in our lives, as Lisa Turkerhurst writes. Now, we live in the world, how we live in the world rather, the choices we make between our wants for ourselves and the needs of others, the ways we give in the world here and now help to create the reign of God among us each day. Let's watch a video that demonstrates such an attitude of self-giving sacrifice.
Is that you can either get a gift for yourself, or you can pick a gift for your mom and dad. This year for Christmas, what are you hoping to get?
A computer, big giant Barbie house,
A trophy case.
an Xbox 360, Minecraft Legos.
What do you think your mom or dad want for Christmas?
My mom would probably want a ring. She's never really had a ring.
Jewelry, she loves jewelry. A new TV, like watches.
So, we actually did buy an Xbox 360.
What in the world? I wanted this! Okay, you really got this for me?
A new laptop.
Wow, it's a necklace!
So we also bought a necklace because you said you also wanted to get a necklace for your mom or your auntie. The catch is that you can either get a gift for yourself, or you can pick a gift for your mom and dad. I need you to pick one. Now before you answer, oh, I bet that's hard. Is that a really hard question?
Mm-hmm.
What gift do you pick?
I choose this.
I gotta go with the ring.
What gift do you pick?
That one. That one. That dress. I'll choose this for my mom. I'll choose this one.
It's a really tough question.
I'll
but
give him this.
You already know? Tell me why.
Because Legos don't matter. Your family matters. Not Legos, not toys, your family. So it's either family or Legos, and I choose family. I get gifts every year from my family, and my mom don't get anything. If I get a laptop, my mama will get something. She helps me when I'm sick. She helps me with my homework. She gave me a house to live in.
They look out for me and do stuff for me, so I need to give back to them.
Now I have the opportunity to give him something.
Because you actually picked the gift for your family, you're actually going to go home with both. Tell me how you're feeling.
I'm feeling really happy and thankful.
Just happy. Thankful
For your family? For what?
for my family, everything.
He did make his decision, actually. And he picked the Pandora charms.
Oh, that is you're gonna make me cry. So you can leave it to me. Oh, it's for me? Oh, it's for you.
Thanks, guys. I was trying to.
These wonderful kids truly treasure their families. You can see the struggle in their hearts as they resisted the temptation and made the right choice for their families. Their parents should be proud. They did a good job raising them.
Notice that each of those children were from a low-income family. They've learned that the singular path of faithful living on which my friend Hans and I agreed was centered in love, specifically in the love that Jesus lived, taught, healed, and died to model, but also the love revealed in his resurrection after the horror of the cross. This is also the kind of love we will ponder tomorrow on Remembrance Day. In talking to my two grandfathers who fought in World War I and my uncle who fought in World War II, not to mention my friend Hans who served in the Canadian Armed Forces for almost 24 years, they gave themselves to Christ's vision of a world society which is rooted in peace, in dialogue, no matter how challenging, and in love. While it is ironic that the path they followed included deadly force, it is rooted in love for their families and for their neighboring citizens. How then do we forsake deadly force and turn toward peace and compassion? How can we turn away from hate? Here's a sign on a front lawn somewhere. I love you. You're probably thinking, you don't even know me. But if people can hate for no reason, I can love. Indeed, Jesus calls us to marinate in that kind of unreserved love of even the stranger. In Matthew's gospel, Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." After all, it is love alone that gives worth to all things, writes medieval mystic Teresa of Avila. So when we are weary of conflict and of polarization, the risen Christ invites us to rest in the restorative power of love. Resting in love is one of the purposes of Remembrance Day. It is a time to reflect on the sacrifices made by so many to help bring about a world rooted in love, not hate, nourished by self-giving, not personal privilege, bound together in collective well-being, not unfettered individuality. There are many soldiers, support staff, family, and friends who live with various degrees of post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of their choices for love. What then do we choose to do for the wounded among us? Maybe God is calling us to just reach out to the stranger, to take a moment to ask if someone is okay, or to check in with those we haven't been in touch with for a long time. People among us who might need the simplicity and the power of a conversation. This last video powerfully demonstrates what a difference we can make by choosing a simple, positive word, a word of love that even encourages plants to grow better.
Attention passengers on platform 11. I'm sorry to announce that there's been a serious incident on the line. We know that there was one individual involved. She was 28-year-old Sarah Wilson. Sarah left a note before leaving her house because she had decided to take her own life. But I'm very pleased to tell you, she didn't go through with it because someone took the time to stop and talk to her. That was all it took to interrupt Sarah's suicidal thoughts. I know this because I am Sarah. I'm sharing my story today to spread an important message, that a little small talk can be all it takes to help start someone on a journey to recovery. So if you think someone might need help, trust your instincts. Stop and have a chat. Even a question about the weather can be enough. Or tell a member of staff. You could help save a life.
This week, then, let's reach out to just one person and make a difference through loving them. Consider it a spiritual practice that follows what Jesus modeled for each of us an ongoing spiritual practice that brings about the reign of God in our world here and now. I pray that it may be so. This is a prayer that has touched me deeply this week, although I have modified it significantly. The colleague who wrote it doesn't want any credit. She says that it was the product of the Spirit's movement and is happy that we can use it. Let us listen to these words and allow them to sink deeply into our souls, finding meaning and comfort within their presence. Let's pray. A soldier paused for an eternal moment, needing time alone to meditate, to pray. The soldier asked, the tears welling up in weary eyes, "Where did you come from?" Silence. Then the deep, desperate breath in, greedily seeking enough. Then the holding of that breath in weary, washed out, wondering hope. Then the rushed letting go of breath until emptiness was all that remained. Control? Knowing? Saving? Feeling. The tears fall. The shoulders collapse into fretful repose. All that's being held up, all that's being held in, all that's being held tightly wound in a protective cocoon, all that's built up in these past 8 months of pandemic, all that's being unspoken, ignored, lost, and mourned is now undone. Then the breaking apart, the breaking forward, the breaking toward wholeness, the opening into humanness, the acceptance of what was to allow what will become. The soldier asks the tears again, calm this time. Where didn't you come from? The salty water baptism washes over the soldier as the tears fall. It is a holy weeping, healing, blessing. Then you, O God, speak into and from within the soldier's heart. Tenderness, compassion, transformation, healing, wholeness. I am here. I will wipe away your every tear as you wipe away each of my own. You are loved. You are not alone. You are, but not alone. You are not alone. Amen. There will be a stewardship package mailed out to you either by email or by snail mail this week. So just make sure you take a look at it and then reply when you have the time. And after you've done some discernment, I pray that that may be an opportunity to consider how to give to the church in ways that you share your time, talent, and treasure. I'd also like to say thanks to Terry Boyd, especially as the weather cools and the wind-blown waves crash on the rocky shore in front of their home that they call the lake house. Thanks, Terry. Let me leave you today with this blessing, which speaks with gentle power of a pathway of living that reflects the way of Jesus. The peace of God be in your heart. The grace of God be in your words. The love of God be in your hands. The joy of God be in your soul and in the song that your life sings. Until next week's Fireside Chat, I pray that when tomorrow you take time to remember those we have lost in war, in conflicts, and in peacekeeping, you may hear God's call to love. See you next week. Bye-bye.